I'm getting money, you see me. Stack it up to the ceiling. If you're looking for me, you know just where to find me. I'm on a pod with TC, with TC. Oh, I'm on a pod with TC, with TC.
All right, welcome. This is Financial Literacy with TC. I'm your boy TC. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me. So many podcasts out in the world that you can choose to tune into, but you always choose to come back to mine. So I'm so appreciative of that. Like always, I want to make sure I remind you guys to like, subscribe, and share. We want to continue to bring content, making sure that we have black representation when we're talking about finances and elevating people in our community. So I'm so excited to be back here at the Community Forge, where I have one of my guests today, young superstar. So I'm gonna just get right into introducing them. So just to give you guys a little backstory, my guest today is an entrepreneurial musician with expertise in musical theory, history, performance. He's skilled in solo collaborative projects, focusing on building strong industry connections and thriving in a fast-paced environment. He's dedicated to innovative and creating impactful opportunities in music and business. He's currently a student at West Virginia University, so shout out to anybody who goes to WVU. He is a native to Pittsburgh. He grew up in the Kappa school system. So for those who know about Kappa, one of the phenomenal schools where they elevate musical talents and artistry gifts, and he represents that to the T. My guest today, I want to welcome Carl Perry.
Thank you,
What's
bro.
up, bro?
Thank you, bro. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. How you?
I'm blessed, bro.
Hopefully I did you justice, bro.
You did. No, you did. Thank you, bro. Yes.
Man, because I'm a firm believer nobody can represent you like yourself.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that I didn't hit or anything you think I left out,
yeah.
I'm going to toot your horn in praises. But if there's anything you think that I didn't, you know what I mean, feel free, man. Because I do my best to try to highlight everything that people do. But sometimes I don't get everything.
No, you hit it, bro. You hit it, bro. You hit it. Thank you for having me on here today, bro.
Yep. So yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on for multiple reasons. But typically, I always when I have my guests, I always like to give the audience a backstory on kind of how we met.
Yeah.
I think we've only known each other for about a month.
A month, yeah. So about a month.
Yeah. But your mother, shout out to Monica Johnson, Foxy Friends. We met at Feed the Village.
Yep.
This past Thanksgiving, and phenomenal event that she always puts on. Still got to get her on the podcast, so we'll be doing that in 2025. But she did an amazing job hosting that event, and she was so proud to highlight you, her son, your siblings, her family. And it was just a great thing to see you guys all come together and see that family environment and just see the level of success.
Yeah.
And what kind of got things started was you were actually the musical performance.
Yeah.
And I forget the piece, so you'll have to remind me.
It was Cherish the Day by Sade.
Okay.
Yep.
And you killed it. And
thank you.
I definitely posted you on my social performing.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
But that's all I have to say, man. That's kind of how we met. It was phenomenal to see your musical talents, especially being a young black man. A lot of times especially I always preach that our youth don't see our black men out here doing phenomenal things in different spaces.
Yeah.
Most times they're just exposed to sports,
Yeah, rapping,
and I'm like, bro,
or
that
whatever.
is
Yeah,
not all
that is not all that's here, bro.
That is not your only
That
option.
is not your only option, bro.
So I say all that to say, man, just what were your thoughts on that day, and what was your thought process on us connecting and meeting? Because I definitely was like, I was blown away by your musical ability, and then
Thank
obviously having a conversation with you, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this dude is a beast. Because I'm
Thank
always
you.
looking for young black dudes who got their stuff together,
Right.
know what they trying to do. And then you let me know about CLEF, which is we're going to talk about a little bit about that, because you're the founder and you're doing things in that not only in the music space but then also in the tech space. So I was just blown away by you. So, but any recollections you had on that day?
I mean, it was obviously it was a lot because like I'm her son, so I'd like carry a whole bunch of stuff, But
yeah, you was working.
Yeah, I was definitely working.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a great day, man. Like I was practicing the piano piece. It was cool. I was a little nervous, but you got to use the nervous energy to execute the mission. But like on us connecting, it was cool, man. Like I'm always looking for like, especially like black men,
right?
Like connecting with black men and just elevating. Like we have a lot of people who like get the money, right?
Yeah.
But don't elevate and stay in the same place.
Right.
So just connecting. And I'm also like I'm very talkative. So I just like talking, bro. So it was cool, bro. It was cool, bro.
Yeah, for sure. No, and it was awesome to see, just the whole vibe and connecting with people in the community. And it's very rare that we get to see black men elevated in the limelight. Because more, I don't know about you, but when I'm on social nowadays, I see more negative stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So,
oh my goodness, bro.
So I always want to make sure that we elevate and highlight black men more than what we're seeing through social media platforms. So cool. So that's how we met, y'all. So Carl, man, let's jump right into it, bro. One of the biggest things that I'm super excited to talk to you about is, so I definitely want to highlight CLEF. That's capital CLEF.
Yep.
You are the founder. So I would just want you to take the time to let people know about what CLEF is as far as the app, and then what it is as far as the platform is going to be.
Got you. So I'm gonna tell you the mission of CLEF first.
Yeah.
So the mission at CLEF, our mission is to inspire and empower musicians all around the world to change problems in the music community, world, and industry. And by doing that, we service not just musicians, but also like day-to-day people with an app that lets you see live performances near you, and also connect and hire musicians for any occasion. Also giving the musician an opportunity,
right,
and to market themselves. We give them like a lot of accessible tools and features on the app, and just help them grow. But also give like not average people, day-to-day people, like right, resources to see live music. Because everyone needs musicians. Everyone needs music.
Absolutely,
everyone needs music. You know what I mean?
And that's
yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I think that's one of the things that we think about technology and where it's headed, AI and all that stuff. I think that's the one that is going to be, if it ever will I don't think it ever can replace the creativity and musicianship. Oh, yeah. So, that's where I'm like, because I'm big on learning what industries will withstand
blow up.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That's your guys' mission, and I'll be remiss if I didn't take the time right now to let you guys know. Check out clefapp.com. So that's CLEFAPP.com. I'm on the website right now. There's some phenomenal things on here. So my next question for you is, when is everything set to launch, or if you can reveal that?
Yeah. So actually the website that my brother just gave you guys, so that's the early access website. That's our official website.
Gotcha.
But the first thing that you guys will see as soon as you get on the website is the early access. So we're currently working on getting the app out, but I'll say this for launch date. Soon.
No, that's cool.
I'll say soon. I'll say it comes out soon. Make sure you guys sign up as early as possible, because there will be limited spots.
Okay.
And space. Use the app.
That's good to know.
And yeah.
So as you were explaining the mission, and as you were explaining, CLEF and what it is to people, my first thought went to, obviously I'm not a musician, but I have a family member. Shout out to Drum Killer. That's my stepbrother.
Okay.
He's a drummer. and he plays for churches, and sometimes he'll do gigs for like community events, stuff like that. So obviously this application really, it'll be for me from the standpoint of being that person who's looking for musicians for different events and things like that. I'm probably going to do in the future, but I think about that musician who's a drummer who's looking for gigs and wants to get their name out of there. Just talk about what this application can do for the artist or the musician themselves. Obviously, I know the intent is for people who need to hire, someone in that space. But how can a musician as yourself leverage this application?
So like how it benefit musicians?
Yeah.
So
thank you. That's a better way.
Yeah. So basically, like, this, it's not just about, like making money and marketing yourself and getting opportunities, but what we're also giving to musicians is like their own space, their own app, their own sense of community and self, something that belongs to them, right? Because the thing about like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever, YouTube, it's very oversaturated with other content. So first, it makes it harder to get opportunities and get recognized, but also like get paid through what you do. So what we also did is, instead of like giving them like opportunities and, an app that'll help them get paid 100% for free through the app. Right. We also give them their own community as well, a sense of belonging. Gotcha. So that's like would be like one of the biggest reasons, that not just speaking for me on like how it benefit, but like how it benefit like every other musician,
Gotcha. So before I ask this next question, obviously it's safe to assume you have a team and it's not just you flying solo. So on behalf of, whoever you partner with in your team, just kind of how did the inspiration for this application come about? How did the name CLEF come about? And, just kind of walk me through that process of how you guys formed this.
So a couple months ago, it was just me, like before, the team came along or whatever. I'm scrolling on my phone through Facebook because, like I said, like I'm a musician. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm looking, Facebook groups. I'm looking for gigs and performances, trying to connect with people. And I'm like, oh my God, why is it so hard to, get a gig or, just reach out to people, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I'll just create my own app, right? I'm like, So, I've just been building on the idea. First, I was in like the development phase of like for the name. So first it was like going to be like Gig Hub and like all this crazy stuff, right? And then I started school in August. My best friend is also like co-founder. He goes to Pitt for physics and coding. I asked him, I'm like, yo, like, I'm telling him about the idea. He was like, bro, why didn't you tell me about this before? Shout out Vincent, right?
Shout out to Vincent.
He was like, bro, why didn't you tell me about this, right? So, we both start going in on it, man. And then the name, I can't even remember I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember. I cannot remember how.
I was like, that's a minor detail to the big picture.
I can't remember, but we get the name together, and like we just put our heads down and just start grinding, bro. Honestly, and how like so we have 5 people on the team right now. So it's me, Vincent, as I told you, Ava. She's also on the development side. Max, he's on the development side, and my boy Gorvin. He's on the marketing side with me. So he be carrying it,
shout out to them.
Shout out to them, and so we just like, you can't, man. There's this African proverb that says like, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, bro, you gotta go with a team.
Ooh, I love that.
You gotta go with a team, bro.
Ooh, I love
because
that.
I would be nowhere to like without any of them, bro.
Like a whole job, he just created the reel right there.
Bro. Like,
that was dope. I love
oh my
that.
God, you can't do it alone, bro.
Right, bro.
You can't do it alone. There's just no way. And so I'm just so grateful. But in order to get a team, like, you got to have a strong why. You got to know why you wake up in the morning and do what you do. You got to have a why. You got to have a reason,
Right, for sure. No, and that's crazy, man. And I love that because you can translate what you just said to kind of anything in life.
Anything.
Specifically speaking, what this platform is for is, to empower Black representation. We talk about money and finances, but also business and entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So a lot of times when we have people in the space that, we currently occupy, because now you've entered the realm of entrepreneurship, being a musician, selling yourself, branding yourself, all those things start to work on personal development. And it sounds like you've definitely put a lot of thought and built your team out to where, like you said, man, and that sinker was a line, boy. So,
And,
so I love that, man.
and you know what? Like the books, I read books.
Love that.
You know what? The Start with Why, Simon Sinek,
Okay.
is like, it's a golden nugget, bro.
Yeah.
It's a golden nugget. Like it just teaches you, like, first, not like the psychology of marketing,
Right.
but also how to like to lead a team, man. And also like inspire yourself to be able to lead a team, man. Because you can't give something you don't get. You know
For sure.
what I mean?
Ooh.
So it's just like,
hey,
oh my God.
he giving some nuggets. Man. So like always, we're gonna make sure we have a lot of information in the description.
Mm-hmm.
So any of the nuggets that he drops, obviously how to reach and connect with him, to learn more about CLEF, how to book him as a musician if you need him for any performances, things of that nature. So I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up right now, because I love to be intentional about, you know, what the purpose is.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we're highlighting and elevating you not only as a person, but as a musician and as an entrepreneur. So, you know, that's what this is all about. So, so my next question for you, you know, how do you balance your roles as a musician, entrepreneur, and a college student?
I love that question. I'm gonna just be 100% transparent. So like before we just started all this, I thought that for years that I was going to be a traveling musician and artist, this and that, right?
Yeah.
Which I still can be, but that's later on down the line.
Right.
But things change, you know.
Yeah.
So then you get to college, and I'm like, man, like you see people who are doing great things, and like, okay, like, you know, I got to step it up.
Right.
But like when it comes to like the balance, I'm gonna be so real to you. What I learned, the biggest thing that I learned, and I thank God I learned this so early in the beginning of the year, is that you can't do everything. Oh my God, you cannot do it all.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, it was draining. There's a point back in October, I was just like, I was drained. Like it was hard getting out of bed. You know, like right, because at this time, me and my boy was developing the app.
Okay.
Marketing ideas while also being a college student. Right. And I was also working with a record label. And I was also doing all this other stuff. Yeah. And so it's just like, just couldn't do it all. So like the riches are in the niches, man. The riches are in the niches, bro. You know, you just gotta like limit yourself to one or two things.
Got you.
And go really hard on those and just develop on that. Because being a musician is a full-time job.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm also in music school, so not even like I was doing music lessons. I'm also in band. I'm also in music class. You know what I mean? So it's just like 80 different things I had to juggle. So I had to let some things go and focus on something that I really wanted to do.
Got you. No, and that makes sense. Because I kind of equate it to probably a star athlete or an athlete in you know, similar. You know, while it's two different lanes, it's similar from the standpoint of, you know, you don't just go to a performance and dominate.
Yeah, and just dominate.
You got to put work and effort and energy, time, practice. So understanding that in order for you to be the best at your craft, you put that work in behind the scenes. So, and for real, that's like with anything that you're going to be successful at. So, I love that you know, make that distinction. And again, you know, I love that it's coming from a young man who's definitely seen the light, and I'm sure you've had plenty of influences to help get you to where your mindset is now. And man, because part of what I love when I hear you speak is, you know, a lot of time I put a time and intention to when I go to these schools to teach financial literacy. The goal is to have them see someone opposite of what they see through social media, opposite of what they see through these music videos and any other content that they absorb, and try to speak to the mindset of, hey, you know, you don't have to put yourself in a box and limit the opportunities on what you can and cannot be. And a lot of times I feel like our youth, especially our young Black men, they have very small sample size of what they're exposed to. So therefore they don't know that, oh, you know, no one's ever put a music instrument in their hands. So they might not ever discovered that they actually are
think about
pretty talented about it.
Right, exactly. Like whatever you consume is exactly what you are.
Exactly.
Whatever you consume is exactly what you are.
Yep. So I'm like, man, if we can get to our youth younger and I miss the days of when they had all the trade schools and schools, and they you know, brought people in to teach about things that aren't, you know, specific to, you know, just one way of thinking and one way of learning. So we got to get back to those days, man.
Right, and this can go into a different conversation, but I'll hit
for
it
sure.
really quick. John D. Rockefeller, in like 1926, richest man in the world at the time,
Right.
he donated $26 million to the national school system. So obviously, he's most likely a board member, right?
Right.
One of his biggest quotes, like before he died, was when he was asked a question like, "Why don't you put financial literacy in school and certain things?" He said, "I want a nation of workers, not thinkers."
Yeah.
That
And that makes
that sums
sense.
it all up.
And and I love that you shared that because again, for those who aren't aware, 2026, the state of Pennsylvania has a bill that was already implemented in December of 2023 that starting in 2026, high school requirement will be a financial literacy course as part of the graduation process.
That's amazing.
So which is why I'm like, all right, we know that's coming down the pike. So I've been doing a lot of legwork to make sure that, hey, let's make sure we got some black representation when we're talking to these youths. Because let's be honest, you're targeting the inner city.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the suburban schools and private schools, they've already had.
They've been had this. That's nothing new.
That's not new.
Yeah, they've been had this.
Let's keep it a buck. So. All right. So one of the things I wanted to mention or bring up was, can you share any challenges you faced with blending, music, business, school? You kind of hit on a little bit about dropping, one or two things and trying to make sure you focus on that. But has there been any like real struggle with other than like just getting up in the morning, or has that been about the toughest struggle you've had?
Man, I think one of the biggest things that like I face, like, because what I've realized, and I've always done this my whole life, is that first, no one controls you but you,
right?
And anything is possible. So if you want something to change, you'll change it. But one of the biggest things that, like, I'm realizing that like I'm dealing with inside myself is like a lot of self-doubt. Like outside of like the music school and the entrepreneurship and the classes, it's a lot of self-doubt. Right. And a lot of times, like, especially like when you have a lot of things to juggle, like college, entrepreneurship, running a business, music, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
It gets a lot. And you'd be like, man, like, do I deserve to be here? And, am I worthy of this, and that? Like, I'm a personal believer of like God.
Yes.
And so it's like, you wouldn't be in a situation. He wouldn't put you in a situation you can't handle. You know what I mean? All things are possible through Jesus Christ,
Ooh.
And so it's
preaching,
just,
boy. I love it.
And so it's just like, but like the hardest problem is self-doubt, man.
Okay. No, and I love that, man. And I appreciate you sharing that because I can relate from the standpoint of I dealt with imposter syndrome.
I deal with that too. I deal with that too.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that. Yeah.
And it was more so when I was in my background in banking, and it was more so, being in rooms and being in spaces that I didn't think, I deserved to be in or was as qualified as people.
Yeah.
So I definitely dealt with that. That's no longer the case. But just knowing that, for me, it's like vocalizing these fears is where our community needs to get to. Because a lot of times we hold things in, we don't share. I know the mental health space is starting to be more relevant, more prevalent in people's lives.
Especially black people, man.
Black people,
oh my God.
And I'm like, man, we just need to go to a space where we can, one, open up and say, this is what I'm struggling with internally.
Yeah.
And we'll, I think we'll start to see a change in our climate, and we'll start to see more and more people thriving when they start opening up about what they're struggling with. So I appreciate you sharing that. Let's get into the music, man. How did you start getting into music? How'd that come about? Like,
man,
did moms just say, "Boy, you about to play piano," or did you go to a performance? Like, what sparked your music journey?
Man, ever since I was born, I've always, like, before I even started playing like any instrument, I was always like, I remember times where, like, like, for example, let's say the Muppets, right?
Yeah.
If you guys watch the Muppets, you're like, am I a man or am I a Muppet? I remember this one specific time, I'm like 5 years old or something, right? And I'm watching like that scene, and I just keep replaying it because I really like the music, right? And so like I start noticing like all those habits, just start building up. Like I'm replaying the song. I listened to it 200 times minimum, bro. And like then I was like really deep into Michael. Like at first it started with like Motown and like older
Okay.
songs, like
Yeah.
James Brown,
Gotcha.
Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
The Temptations.
Those the joints.
I was like 9 years old listening to this stuff, right?
Right.
But then the specific what really got me into it, I was like 7 years old on Christmas.
Okay.
My mom gets me this keyboard because why not, right?
Yeah.
And I actually have the picture on my phone.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah.
I'm playing. I was just playing. I was just playing all night.
Ooh.
And like since then, I just been playing ever since.
Okay.
And I'm self-taught. I didn't get like music lessons until
wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
like 10th grade maybe.
Okay.
And so I just been thugging it out, man.
That's more impressive, man, because a lot of times, even if you do get that exposure at an early age,
Mm-hmm.
you might not have the support from loved ones and family to help,
Oh yeah.
see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
So knowing that you kept that love and interest and passion all the way up until you actually started getting taught professionally.
Yeah, it's not professionally. Yeah, it's
yeah. So that's huge. What's your favorite performance or piece you've done since you've come up?
so I graduated Kappa from vocal voice. So I also sing too.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. Dang.
Yeah. I don't sing a lot.
Okay.
I don't sing a lot.
Dang,
No.
I was like, yeah, left that off.
Yeah. But I sing too. And so in 11th grade, I got the opportunity to go to Carnegie Hall in New York.
Oh, nice.
And sing with a choir.
Ooh.
And oh my goodness. Shout out to Greg Gilpin. He was our conductor. OG, man.
Oh, man.
The music, the music, bro, the experience, that by far, that was easily like my favorite. Like, oh my gosh, being in New York.
Yeah.
Seeing it, bro, goated, bro. No words. It was just goated, bro. It was goated, bro.
No,
it was
honestly,
goated.
I love that because I experienced something. Like, obviously, I'm not in music.
Yeah.
I've been to New York to the theater to see. I'll say The Lion King was the most earliest memories I have.
Oh, yeah.
And that whole spectacle and everything that came with it was like jaw-dropping and like definitely puts you in a space where you're like, this is incredible. And
right.
So
and
sort of I can see how that probably was it for you. So
and that's what we got to start doing with like a lot of our Black kids, man. It's taking them out taking them out the country. A lot of people. I was just talking to my girlfriend about this because that's my favorite thing to do. I love eating, number one, and I love traveling. Other than anything else, music, I love to eat. Right. And so, but what I'm saying, I'm in the car talking to her. I'm like, it's crazy to think some people at first never been out of Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh or like literally die here.
Yep.
Or like some people live here their whole life. Yep. And like a lot of our Black kids, sometimes like a lot of them don't even like either leave the neighborhood or like, here's the thing, man. I say this all the time. Like you don't know how your environment affects you until you leave it.
For sure.
And that's like New York is the perfect example. It shows you everything that is to come, that will come, and is possible.
Love that. Yep.
A lot of people say that the sky's the limit, but that's not true. The sky is just what you stand on, bro.
Right.
And so it's just like anything's possible, man.
And I love that because, tying this into a financial space, a lot of times, let's use our individuals in our communities who just don't have the financial situation to be able to expose their kids to that. That's why you need to be extra as a parent, as a young youth, or wherever you're at. Learn about these organizations that exist that are doing just that. Because a lot of times we think mom and dad are the only option we have to be able to get exposure, or mom and dad think they're the only ones that have the options to provide this to their kids. I'm like, no, there's organizations out here that are being intentional about coming up with the donations, the funds, and everything else they're doing to try to generate this opportunity and exposure for your kids. But it starts by you being involved in your child's life, understanding, hey, let me, right now we don't have the financial gain to, be able to expose our kids to trips to New York, other countries. But let me do some research. Let me tap into some other organizations. Maybe they can help provide a way for my child to go do this and do that. And that's where I'm like, these organizations exist.
Yeah, they definitely exist.
So
And we need to get more of them, especially like in
for
our
sure.
community.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because it's like you'll go to like, you know, a middle class neighborhood, maybe like, I don't know, like Squirrel Hill. Everyone got good credit. Everyone's driving a nice car. You know, everyone's
Absolutely.
living a great life. And that's because, you know, and this can get into a whole different conversation.
Hey, I'm with it.
Like, you can go back all the way back to like slavery or even like Black Wall Street, you know?
Yes.
And like when these things were taken away from us. And like that created separation.
Yep.
But the difference between, I see like with the Jewish community and the Black community is that, so the thing, I'll give you a little history behind Squirrel Hill.
Yep.
So Squirrel Hill is before, like, you know, we see everything that we see right now.
Right.
A lot of the people that come from Squirrel Hill were actually a lot of Holocaust survivors.
Yes.
So they migrate from wherever, I think it was what, Germany, right?
Yeah.
And they come from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
They come to Pittsburgh and they stay connected. And, you know, they keep everything in the community, banks, food, money, they live together. And just that family. Yep. But like with the Black community, you don't really see that. And it's the separation, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's why I know that a lot of problems that we deal with today, that's the reason why.
Absolutely.
Like a family, bro.
Absolutely. And honestly, to your point, early on, I've visited the Holocaust Museum in Squirrel Hill. And that's where I've learned, you know, I've learned about other cultures because I wanted to see, and this was many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, well, what's the difference between how this culture operates versus my culture?
Yeah.
And that's, to your point, a lot of what you said is you see the difference between keeping everything in-house. And shout out to, you know, that's why I'm excited to announce, and, you know, will be announced, that I'm a part of Greenwood plan for the board 2025.
Okay.
Because to your point, understanding that, you know, we need to see changes when it comes to keeping everything in-house, having that Black Wall Street. Shout out to Greenwood plan. They represent and embody exactly where they're trying to get the community and culture to get to where, you know, we are being intentional about making sure that Black dollars circulating amongst our people in our community.
Yes,
so
I'm
super excited for 2025 for that very reason alone.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So last question, when it comes to how do you approach collaborations, working with other artists? Will your application really help facilitate with that as well?
Yeah, so, you know, I've been in multiple bands. Center of Life, Pastor Tim Smith. I was in his program for like forever. Yeah. And so like working with like a group of people. Here's the thing, and business is life. Yeah. Music is life. It's, you know, life is life, right?
Right.
Everything correlates one way or another. It's like working with a band. Everyone has different goals. Mm-hmm. Everyone has different missions, places that they want to be, things that they want to do, and think like different ways of thinking and like different ways that they operate, right?
Right.
And so when you bring a group together, especially when we all play different instruments, you have to find a way to turn it into a melting pot to where everything mixes together. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing with like, you know, business. Like everyone has different goals, different visions, different ways that they handle things, different emotions, different mindsets, different backgrounds, different everything, just different people, right? Yeah. But you have to find a way to where you can work as a team and work towards something greater than yourself on the team, you know? And so and like, you know, with the app, like I said, our goal is to inspire and empower. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, you need a team, man. You need a community. That's why we're also like pushing out this app to have like, not just, you know, your day-to-day person, but to give the musician a sense of community. You know what I mean? Because what I'm realizing, and one of the reasons why I also like, because I'm a jazz musician. Okay. I'm a jazz musician mainly. And so like, just one of the reasons like I also created this app is me and my team are also creating the app is because the musician community is so clicky. It's very clicked up. It is very clicked up. It is very. It's like a cult. it's very secretive, and so we're going to break that. We're going to change that. Okay. We're going to change that.
I love that. Nah, for sure. So you taught me something about the music industry, and I was like, man, because like, I mean, I know a few people who are musicians, but I don't really know the whole inner circle or inner working of that world because I'm not a musician. But that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's a headache. It's a headache, but we're gonna fix it.
But that's dope. So if you need a jazz performer, So let's talk about more of the application. So you guys have been working towards, development and implementation and everything going forward. Um, what kind of trends or innovation are you guys looking to bring to the application that is different than what already currently exists? So you kind of hit on it a little bit when you talked about basically, social media has all type of content where this is going to be more of a community environment strictly for musicians. But what it kind of, if I can sum this question up perfectly, is what kind of trends and innovation are you bringing to it that is strictly for musicians, if that makes sense?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, for sure. So I'll compare our app and Instagram, right?
Okay.
So on Instagram, let's say this podcast that's about to go up, right?
Yeah.
You want to promote it.
Yeah.
You make a post with with a description, time, date, whatever you're gonna put in there, right? And you make it a post. People might see it or whatever. And people can look at it. It's optional to look at it. You can click and scroll through other posts. But with our app, everyone gets a calendar.
Oh, okay.
Everyone gets a calendar.
Yeah, that's definitely
everyone,
definitely
right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're a venue, Con Alma downtown,
Yeah,
jazz bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're a jazz bar. So we're gonna have, when you open up your account, you can do a venue or
Okay.
like a band,
Got you.
non-musician
Okay.
looking to hire people, or just a single musician, right? So all of those profiles, we're still thinking if we're gonna put one for like a non-musician.
Gotcha.
Every profile is everyone gets a calendar.
Okay.
So what the calendar is, as soon as you go on your profile, everyone will see what time, where you're gonna be, what time, place, like who you're gonna be playing with,
Right.
and you can change it throughout like the whole year whenever you want. So instead of like having to make a post, you have your own calendar, which also makes it easier to market yourself, do whatever you want. It's seamless. You don't got to think about it. You just do it.
No, and I love that, man. That's dope because that encompasses a lot for you. So people want to book you, they'll know where you're at on certain days. Obviously, if you have performances, like you just said, marketing. So like that alone just embodies a lot of different things to help create that more exposure. And so I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can also link your other social medias in the app too.
Nice. Okay.
So if you want to get followers to the CLEF app, you can,
Right.
So it's gonna be like the Uber, Airbnb, LinkedIn for musicians. It's gonna have components from all three of those apps.
That's dope. Oh, I love that. That's crazy. So I'm getting excited. I hope you are.
Lock in. Or I'm gonna get mad.
Right. So what advice do you or would you I don't know if you give if you talk to younger musicians or if but yeah, so if that's the case, what advice do you give or would you give to I would say anybody, but specifically young black men, because I would love to see, and I don't know any analytics or numbers on what it looks like for individuals who look like us coming out of high school or starting a career to get into musicianship. But I would love to see what that looks like for future black men coming up to see what. Man, we got them coming out in drones to be able to be musicians, and so probably there's other areas in the country where it's probably more, those numbers are better, but
right, yeah, for sure. So here's the thing, then I struggle with this too, but I'll speak for myself for this first part. My whole life, I was taught to never care what people think about me. So then I really don't now. I don't care really,
right,
to an extent, right? So I was never held by. Now I'll speak for everyone else. I was never held by the perception of what other people think about me. More so, I was held by the perception of what I thought about myself.
Gotcha.
Right. And so when you're taught that you can't do anything, you don't do anything. But I was taught that I could do everything.
Right.
So I do everything. And I was taught that anything is possible, especially like me growing up like a Christian background.
Right.
All things are possible through Jesus Christ, right? And so like if you see if you see Lil Wayne driving a Rolls Royce, why can't you? That's my mindset, you know?
Right.
And it's just like, or for example, let's use something not so good, right? If you see Johnny down the street doing something he's not supposed to do, you'll do it. Most likely, 9 times out of 10, you're most likely going to do it. And the same thing
Oh, he
applies
ain't get
with
caught.
something good. Yeah, he ain't get caught, so I'm gonna do it, right?
Right.
Or you gotta do something good. This person getting money, I can get money the right way too, right?
Right.
And so it's just like anything, man. You can do anything you set your mind to, and it's not going to be easy, but it's possible.
For sure.
You can do anything.
So to that point, who have been some influences for you as far as either musical, professionally? Like who are some of the people you've looked up to that help you, navigate to where you want to be?
My mom.
Yes.
Shout out to you.
Yes.
My mom, my grandparents,
Okay.
my father,
Mm.
my school, my
Okay.
elementary school.
Oh wow.
Lincoln Elementary.
Hey, shout out to Lincoln.
Shout out to Lincoln Elementary School.
Yeah, no, that's
Man,
huge because you don't hear that often. To say so because there are phenomenal teachers. So a lot of times when you blame when the academics is giving kudos and they deserve their flowers, you always want to make because while I'm not a teacher and never been a teacher, I had the opportunity to walk in their shoes for a day, teaching 8th grade financial literacy. I had like 4 classes, and that was exhausting, exhilarating. Like it was a ton of different things. So my appreciation for educators grew
huge,
tremendous that day.
Especially for Black ones.
Yes, for sure.
And I'll give you a little background on myself. So back in I think it was 1st grade or kindergarten, and they do this in a lot of Black school systems too, right? So every a kid is going to be a kid, bro. Yeah. Energetic, disruptive. Let's say I was very energetic and disruptive, right?
And I'm gonna put myself in that category,
right?
Too.
Like very energetic, very disruptive. Never did what I was asked to do, right? And so what happens? What they try to do with a lot of Black children is prescribe them with something, right? With the wrong thing, right. Look, it's 2024. I'm not gonna say this word, but I was prescribed.
I know a word you're referring to.
Right, and so right, and it was that was not the case. I have ADHD for sure. All that's on paper, and they try and they put our kids on medication and stuff, right? And so when all these things, especially for a young Black man, are put on you, you're this, you're that, you're this, and that. You're supposed to be this, right? And you're told that you can't do anything. But thankfully, for myself, I wasn't put on medication.
Right.
And I'm fine. Anything is possible. And I meet, especially in college, I meet a lot of specifically Black men at WVU.
Okay.
Specifically Black men who oh man, I was prescribed with this, and that. It's these barriers. It's not more so the things that they're prescribing you with. Right. It's the things that they're prescribing on your brain.
Right.
And the way that you think.
Right.
And well, guess what, man? If you wake up in the mirror and say that you're hideous, you're going to believe that you're hideous.
Right.
But if you wake up in the mirror and you say that, oh yeah, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, I'm strong, this is that. Eventually, you'll believe.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great lesson to absorb and take in because we never know the trials and tribulations and struggles that individuals are dealing with. And again, like I said, Black men are being taught and brought up that it's a sign of weakness to divulge anything other than physical, mental strength. And I'm like, that's setting us up for a lot of different traumas and things going forward. So, breaking those generational curses.
Yes, yeah, and it's not easy. I'll say that, but it's possible, and it will be done.
Yes, absolutely. So,
and it will be done.
Few more here. So, what is the most important lesson you've learned recently as an entrepreneur or a musician? Anything that you've learned or developed over the past year, a few months, a week ago? Anything that stands out to you?
have two. One, and this ties into like what I said, anything like you can't do everything. But also B, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my
Give
gosh.
yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna happen. You know, it's okay to take a break. Cause that period I was telling you about, like I was on like some David Goggins stuff, bro. I'm watching him every day.
Right.
You know, like I mean, like I had an insane routine. Like my routine was absolutely nuts, bro. And I did it for like 2-3 months straight. And I was just like, bro, like I'm depressed, bro. Like, you know. And so just be nice to yourself, man.
Yeah.
Because like, and it seems like we see these things portrayed on social media, like, you know, David Goggins and, you know, all this other stuff, how things should be.
Right.
We start to want to make that our life. And
For sure.
maybe like everyone's not meant to look like David Goggins, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to get it how you get it. And two, learn your financial literacy, man.
Yes. I love that.
Right. Like, oh my gosh, credit, your credit is so important.
Yeah.
Every, like there's, man, get up on your financial literacy, man. And if you want to, we could talk a little more about some financial stuff too.
Absolutely.
If you have time, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, few things. One, so I've recently had artists, and that's kind of why I like to invite people who are not in typical professions or professions that are like talked about all day.
All day.
Yeah. Because for me, it's like, man, there are successful musicians, there are successful artists, you know, their financial journey is vastly different a lot of times because the money isn't steady, just based off what analytics and, you know, what research tells us about these professions. Obviously it's not across the board, but you know, a lot of times it's even more prevalent that industries and people who are in artistry know more about how to take care of their money, budgeting, credit.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, let's just be honest, until you reach a certain peak or plateau, the money don't look great early on, or it's non-existent. You know what I mean? And that's just, you know, based off, you know, research and things I've heard and people's experiences, that, you know, they literally have to have their 9 to 5 maintaining while they're trying to build up their artistry. And that's kind of like, man, those are huge to hear those people's voices and their testimony and their trials and tribulations, because again, at the end of the day, I've heard stories where people, it take them 10, 15, 20 years to actually start making money to live.
Oh my gosh. And you're talking about a musician?
Musician, artist, artists in general.
Here's the thing. I'll give you some stats on a musician, man.
Okay.
And this is also like one of the, like when I pitch CLEF like people, right? I believe it's 62% of musicians in the United Kingdom filed that they make less than off of what they do.
Right.
They make less than $20,000 to $15,000 a year.
Right.
72% of musicians in the United Kingdom reported that they've been depressed because they can't do what they do.
Right. And
that says it all.
Yeah, for sure. And those numbers, and I appreciate you sharing those numbers, because that is huge, and that's why I think that speaks to the heightened awareness and emphasis that we need to have on financial literacy and helping people understand the significance of it. So a lot of times when I get booked for financial literacy workshops, shout off an amazing 2024 I just had where I did well over 50 workshops. A lot of times when I'm coming in, I'm doing more than just trying to tell you to budget or do this, which I'm really trying to speak to your mindset and give reasons why it's so significant and so important for you to be able to be educated on how you're actually moving with your money, things of that nature. So I'm really trying to speak to the mindset of individuals as opposed to other entities and organizations out there. They're just trying to feed you information, and that information is all well and good, but what is information to an individual who doesn't have the correct mindset to be able to take what they're being taught and told and be able to implement it in a way that's going to make relevant and impactful change to their life? Like, you could just give me a PowerPoint presentation and I look at it and I'm listening, but my mindset is thinking about the traumas and struggles that I got at home with my mom and my dad, my sister, my brother, my grandma. those things are ever prevalent in my mind. So therefore, the information you're giving me is going right to the back of my dome and going right out of my ear. So for me, that's kind of like imperative to try to educate our communities on, hey, let's make this make sense to the situation and trials and tribulations that you're dealing with. So that way I'm speaking to, all right, you say you want to do this and X, Y, and Z. Hey, let's build a roadmap customized to you and stop trying to put everybody in an isolated box and think that because everybody's expense level is different, everybody's income level is different.
It's just everyone's life is just different.
Just different.
And you know what? I'm a big believer. So I'm a physical learner. Like I'm kinesthetic.
Everybody learn differently.
And I think a lot of Black children are also like kinesthetic learners just because of our background or whatever, right?
Yep.
But here's the thing. Besides like my mission statement for CLEF, my personal like the thing that I love to do is help people. I love to help people in any way I can. You know what I mean? Right. So like eventually like what I'm gonna do is like whenever I make it, I'm gonna take just like a whole bunch of Black kids, man, and just show them everything on what is possible. Because like you said, man, you can't. It's like, in a sense, like talking to a brick wall, bro. You know what I mean? Like I'm telling you to invest in this, this, and that. But like you said, you got stuff going on at home. So, but guess what? Because what they'll do is they'll use not your example of like what you should be doing, but like I said, they got stuff going on at home. So they see Jamal down the street selling drugs and he getting money. You know, right? But guess what? If you take them outside of their environment and show them a Rolls Royce or show them this humongous house and show them the neighborhood that you're living in, take them out to eat, be there for them. Guess what? You are what you take in, bro. And that's exactly what they're going to be. Yep. And they're going to figure out something, because a lot of times, like, a lot of people, like, for example, like their mom is like, on drugs or, their dad's not there, right? Absolutely. So, like, especially for young Black men, they're going to have to step up and be the man of the house at a very, very young age. And so it's just, they're going to survival, man. They're going to figure it out. Right. And it's not going to put them in the best situation, but if they just have that person there to help them mentally, emotionally, financially, whatever.
Yep. And that's why I continue to elevate organizations like Garfield Jubilee. Shout out to them. They have they're working with 16 to 24-year-olds. Machi Pittsburgh, they are doing mentorship for individuals who have incarcerated parents. There's a ton of other organizations that I've had on this podcast where they're really pouring and trying to be that resource and that connection to individuals to help change a lot of
lives, bro.
So shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
So I'm gonna get you out on this one. Let's just talk about, and like you kind of already talked about what your plans are once you've made it to a level to where you want to be able to give back. Let's talk about future success as far as where do you see you in the next 5 to 10, or CLEF as the the innovation of the app, like project this out, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm looking at buying stock into a lot of business. Like I wasn't, I didn't have the ability when Microsoft, Google, and all these were, what I mean? So as I start to think futuristically, I'm like, let's put a list together of some companies
that's a hurt piece, bro. Looking at how much Bitcoin used to be, bro. That's a hurt piece. So I was like 7 when Bitcoin came out. Right. And obviously, like, no 7-year-olds thinking about Bitcoin. Yeah. I'm like, I'm out playing with Johnny and Tim. Right. Man, I should have been getting to the bag. Like, it's a hurt piece. But
honestly, that's just, our community. We're not spending a ton of time learning about different investments, stocks, stuff like that. There have been initiatives recently to start to change that. So I love that, but we want to continue to keep it going. So but yeah,
I got you. Let me answer your question. I'll speak for myself first. 5 years, hopefully praying a little less. Be honest, bro. I see myself driving a Rolls, bro. Somewhere in like Atlanta, Florida, bro, driving a Rolls, bro.
Absolutely.
My main goal in life, I just want to be free. At the end of the day, bro, I just want to be free. And I said I'll give you a story. I was in 10th grade, so I was like 15 at the time. First shift at Giant Eagle, it was like December or something. And I mean, it was crazy cold, bro.
Right.
So instead of having me on cash register, they had me outside bringing back the carts.
Oh yeah.
And it was first it was on a Sunday. No one wants to work on a Sunday, and on top of that, it was an 8-hour shift.
Oh yeah.
First shift ever.
Yeah.
I called my mom. I said, "Mom, this will not be my life."
Right. I love that.
I'm like 15, bro. I'm like, I can't, bro. I won't do it.
I love that.
So, and it's just like, I just want to be free. And I said to my mother, I'm like, I know how hard I'm about to have to work.
Right.
And I'm going to be tired, but man, I'm looking at the future, bro. I'm looking at the future. So, I see myself in, like, I don't know, traveling. I love to travel. I love to eat, just eating somewhere.
Right.
Just having fun, blessing people, bro. Like, whenever I get my money, I'm going to just bless people, bro.
Bro, and I love that you shared that real quick, because that's kind of when I speak about talking to the mindsets of our youth, that's kind of where I go, where I'm talking to them like, all right, look at your parents' lives, look at anybody in your circle, the people you're exposed to regularly, your teachers, whoever, and literally think about what they're doing or what you want to do is going to translate to where you want to be the next 10, 15, 20 years. Because a lot of times the individual I'm talking to, they got some of the biggest questions that they'll have to answer and decisions that they'll have to make. Do I want to go to college? Do I not want to go to college?
Yeah.
What is my financial situation going to look like as soon as I'm 18? Those are stuff that they need to be getting, talking about religiously, because a lot of times that's where, they have to make some big decisions, and that'll help steer how everything goes for them the next few years. So understanding that you put in work at a job that you was like, I don't want to see myself doing this. That's the mindset that I'll be trying to tap into when I'm talking to them. Like, look, because at the end of the day, I always would go back to when I was being brought up through the school system. It was college or workforce. Those are my only two options.
And unfortunately, that's a lot of not just people's lives, but especially that's a lot of black folks. Like, that's the American dream, bro.
Yep. that's all I was exposed to, bro. So, but no, that's the so yeah, man, I love that, and I appreciate you sharing that. Let's make sure we leave people with all your information, how to connect with you. Again, it's going to be in the description, but
Yeah. So if you guys want to connect with me, the Carlton at clefapp.com. My Instagram was like my main page is C_E_E05. And my LinkedIn is Carl Perry. Yeah. My LinkedIn is Carl Perry. So those are all my handles. And
And then also check out the CLEFapp.com, CLEFapp.com. They do have where you can sign up for your email. Like you said, there's going to be limited spaces, so make sure you connect with them. And then you can also connect with him through me, Financial Literacy with TC, on our platforms, social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, subscribe.
Financial Literacy with TC. Leave some comments. We're going to continue to go into 2025 with actually this will probably air in 2025, but as we go into 2025, we want to make sure that we are bringing that Black representation, that Black voice, and this is the platform that we want to do it on. So with that being said, this is your boy TC, and I'll see you on the next episode.
I'm getting money, you see me. Stack it up to the ceiling. If you're looking for me, you know just where to find me. I'm on a pod with TC, Oh, I'm on a pod with TC,